Oh, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 688 of FloWrestling Radio Live. I'm your host, Christian Piles, coming at you in 1080p. We got a new camera. I don't know if you can even tell. We got a new camera, Ben. We're really moving
actually,
up.
You know what? Now that you say that, so I was covering the main screen and I couldn't see it, and now that I move it down, yeah, you guys
look good, right?
We're trying to get on your level, Ben. We got the pride of Bishop Sycamore High School, JD Raiders here. We got Ben Funky Askren. What's going on, fellas?
Wait, is that the fake? Is that the fake high school that did?
Yes.
Yeah.
Fooled ESPN.
That's kind of hilarious.
So great. So great.
No, if you actually read into it, though, I feel really bad for these kids. Because, like, they got recruited. They thought they were going to a legit school and everything. And then didn't, obviously. And, like, had to live, like, out of a hotel for 5 months. Or
Who was the mastermind?
I forget his name. Some coach who now has a arrest warrant out for him. And I think he's on the run.
Bishop Sycamore. That's what's up.
I should try to fool FloWrestling and just create my own high school up here, and then you guys can set up a big duel between fake high school X and some other big high school, and then we can make national news.
You're a criminal mastermind. It's perfect.
The story really is wild, and I feel like there'll be a documentary that'll come out about it.
It's a perfect 30
couple years.
for 30.
Yeah, and it'll be great.
Yeah.
But
Is it the coach from Last Chance U?
I do not believe so.
Have you watched those?
No, but you guys always talk about them.
You gotta watch. You gotta at least watch the real coach JB, Jason Brown. This guy's he's hilarious. So a lot Ben was gone. Ben, we missed you last week. We had fun without you, but it was gone. You were on vacation?
Yeah, we went up north Wisconsin. It's actually there's a resort on a disc golf course. It was really great. Spent some time on the beach. I did less than 1 hour of work per day, so it was great. Yeah.
Well, wonderful. So good to have you back. We're coming up on an amazing stretch of wrestling where we're gonna have basically 2 weeks World Team Trials. Who's number one? Worlds, Super 32. I'm probably missing some stuff in between.
AWA duels, of course. You're missing.
AWA duels. How could I forget? I think those are during Who's Number One, right?
Yeah. I mean, well, it's a lot longer than Who's Number One, but unfortunately, they're during the same time period. Who's Number One's exciting. I looked at all your matchups. I know we're going to talk about those. But the one thing I was thinking about as I was going to bed the other night is these World Team Trials. I know it has to happen this way because of this year. But these dudes and girls are going to make a world team, and they're going to have to get on a plane to go overseas, like, I don't know, 2 weeks later maybe, because they obviously want to get there early. Mm-hmm. Like, the turnaround is going to be insanely fast.
So I was actually talking so if you don't know who Cody Bickley is, he's on USA Wrestling staff, and he handles a lot of the different aspects for the training and the logistics for the team. And he was saying they weren't going to have for Tokyo, it was really important to have a long acclimation and get their way in advance because of the time zone. But they said with 6 hours, they won't have to be as extreme. So I think they're factoring that in and won't have to go there quite as early as they did for Tokyo. So I'm not sure. He didn't give the specifics of
Tokyo was like 2 weeks, right?
Man, I think they were there longer than that. They were there
longer than that.
They were there like 3-4 weeks.
Oh, shoot. Wow. Yeah, I never felt, so obviously I went to Singapore a lot, which is, I believe, either the same time zone or one off from Tokyo.
Right.
I always felt rough for a couple days, but I think if I had to have competed on, say, day 3 or day 4, I could have felt pretty good. I mean, yes, I did go there early just to ensure that it was all good, but 6 hours shouldn't be all that bad.
No, I don't think it'll be a huge obstacle. But yeah, it is a tight turnaround, especially if you're making the team for the Olympians. At least they're able to have a slight come down, but it's how much can they come down? When they have to be up so soon.
Yeah. But what about the Olympians who didn't medal? That's the hardest one because they're wrestling in the Olympics. They had to come home. The acclimation period to get back is going to be a week till they're feeling good. Then they got to crank back up and get ready for a nationals less than a month later from that point. Then they got to crank back up and get ready for another world. That's boom, boom, boom.
It's constantly cranking.
No comment.
Crank sesh. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, so that those affected athletes are Kayla Jakara, who at least is out to the semis for her, and I guess is that it?
No one in men. No. Well,
yeah, men's because Gable's
team.
just not doing it, and then the men are on the squad.
What if Gable just came out WWE entrance, like somehow?
Yeah, and he just
they
enters.
let him not register, and then just play some Stone Cold music. Comes out like a villain, WWE style, World Team Trials.
I'm here for it.
How about this? I got a better one for you. Someone wins the heavyweight World Team Trials. They're celebrating. I'm going to Oslo. Then the music hits.
Yeah.
And he says, "Nope, not so fast. You actually got 2 more matches."
Oh my God, that's Gable Stevenson's music.
that would be
tremendous.
That would evoke a lot of fear. That would be very fair.
That is the one case where it is unfortunate that USA Wrestling has fair and just procedures to make a world team.
Yeah, we can't have any sort of WWE style theatrics. One thing, it's interesting. So Russia, as they look to choose their team or however they're going to do it, they're doing it very differently from us, whereas their Olympians...
Somewhat similar, you
say, but they're like, well, if they want to go, if the Olympic medalists want to go, they can like basically compete for it, but they're not on the team automatically. Like at least reading the Instagram post from Tadiev and etc., it's not sure how they're doing it, but it sounds like they're not having a formal nationals. They're gonna all go to camp and then make decisions based on that. So
even if they're a medalist,
it sounds like it. Now, are they really gonna? If Sadulayev rolls up, I mean, who are they gonna put on the team? I mean, I think it's probably assumed. But with I think Sadulayev's gonna go. I think Nafanov's gonna go. I think Sidikov's gonna go.
Yeah, there was an Instagram post from a Russian wrestling account saying they were at camp and Sidikov and Nafanov were in the picture, which makes you think that they will go. So, and it said like camp gearing up towards World Cup 2021. So,
and so I thought, go ahead, Ben.
With the Russian team, they have the 3 gold medalists. Rashidov, I could see them making him wrestle off for sure, and then Nafanov, obviously, I could see that. And heavyweight, they need to recruit into heavyweight real quick. They need to I don't know, get Mason Paris and put a wig on him or something.
You stop it. We've lost enough. We've lost enough Wolverines to other nations. We can't lose Mason because Gable's leaving.
Yeah, I mean that would be. They need somebody. I'm just telling you, they need.
That sounds like an idea JD would have been.
Whoa, Russian agent JD.
He's like, wouldn't it be great if all our wrestlers went to Russia? It'd be amazing. Stop doing folk style. That's JD's master plan.
There you go.
Not entirely true.
Boom.
Yeah, partially. Okay, so while we're on the world's kick, let's pull up this post from Yazdani's coach, who has a secret game plan. It sounds like.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So he said, "Where's the post? Do you have it? Yeah, here it is.
So
they have a new coach. They fired their other coach." And he said this. I'm pulling it up right now. God has given me this opportunity to ask all the great wrestlers to support the national team. We have a special program for David Taylor. Let me not talk too much about this, but rest assured. You
should really be reading this in a Russian or in an Iranian accent.
I don't know if I have a good one. I'll workshop it. Referring to the possibility of Hassan Yazdani reuniting with the American David Taylor and what tactics Yazdani will use this time around. Given Yazdani's defeat in the final seconds of the Olympic final, and I promise we will definitely have a special program and analysis for Taylor. In my opinion, Yazdani's tactics in the final bout were not too bad, but in some places, a number of issues should be added or reduced. So if you're...
Don't you like this? So annoying.
You don't like it? What do you mean?
Well, this thing, so, my wife used to flip houses, and there was this thing with any type of tradesman where they would come in, and the first thing they would do was crap on the work of whoever was there previously.
Yeah.
Like, they messed these 7 things up, and now here's what I'm going to do. And I feel like this coach, we talked about Christian. That was Yazdani wrestled well. It was a good game plan. It was the best match he's ever had against David Taylor. And now this guy feels the need to come in and, the last sentence crap on what the previous coach did, because in some places, a number of issues.
Yes, a number of issues. Yes, that's okay.
Iranian.
No problem.
But
so
what do you think?
Yeah, I think what are the main? I think honestly, he needs to be better conditioned somehow. Which I don't know if you can get conditioned to that level, but otherwise implement the same game plan. I mean, he could not withstand the 6-minute heat. He could not withstand it.
He could withstand it for 5 minutes and 40 seconds.
Yes, but he could. But that last little bit, he didn't have it, and I think that was fatigue.
So and then with David Taylor is actually one of the guys I bring up when I'm talking to my athletes sometimes about how if you look at what he does, and maybe this is like hindsight bias at this point because he's won 2 world titles and hasn't lost him forever, but he has a style that is almost impossible to game plan against because there's so many different things coming at you. There's so many diverse ways to score. There's such a cardio component to it because you have to be ready for that. You can't overpower him. I mean, maybe I guess the weak point would say like Yazdani was successful in his earlier matches in underhooking and pushing around a little bit, but obviously that didn't last the entirety of the match. So like, what is the game plan against David Taylor if you want to beat him? And I actually thought he wrestled really well. So,
the adjustments. I mean, there were a couple go behinds. You would think 98% of the guys he wrestles, he's able to run behind, and he wasn't able to against David. That was a couple because he was in that short offense scenario quite a few times, and David was able to like hang in the zone, not give up a step out or a go behind, and that was huge. And I don't know if that's going to be can he get one of those go behinds? One of those go behinds, and maybe he wins the match, right? He wasn't able to get those takedowns.
Do you think David's going to give that up? I mean, because he's like, I feel like. How often does David give up go behinds?
Never. And that's one of his things that he said in his interview afterwards. He's like, big thing that we emphasize to our wrestlers and I emphasize in my wrestling, no go behinds. It's a hustle position. It's an effort position. And don't give it up. Never give it up. And that was a huge point of emphasis for him. And that's an emphasis you need to have for Yazdani, right? Because this dude he's next level go behinds, next level. He gets to that front headlock position so frequently, but he was able to avoid those positions. But you convert one time and it's a different match.
Yeah, but if you look at, so I mean, this kind of goes into all wrestling, but David Taylor is exceptionally good at it. One of the things I always emphasize for guys who young wrestlers, listen to this: if you were a high volume attacker. Which David Taylor is by all accounts, and he always has been. If you're a high volume attacker, you cannot give up a lot of points off your own shots. I mean, whether that's a scramble, whether that's a sprawl and stuff, whether that's down block go behind, whether that's just a stuff and then go behind, right? If you give up a lot of points off your own attacks, you cannot be a high volume attacker. David Taylor's been a high volume attacker for 20 years. He does not give up a lot of points off of his own attacks. It just doesn't happen. It's really rare.
Caleb Davis-Piles is working on a similar thing. He shoots a lot and gives up a lot of go-behinds. So
they all do at that age.
We're addressing this currently. I think – I don't know. I think I tweeted this. Like, if they deviate a lot from the game plan, I think it's foolish because they've kind of got – they found like the perfect mix of like controlling center and, not gassing out to the degree he had – and not shooting. Do not shoot on him. Avoid all scrambles with David. If you notice, that match basically had no scrambles whatsoever, right? Yeah. So I thought it was a game planning masterclass, and he just couldn't. He couldn't finish the deal. His coaches and his preparation put him in position to win that match, and he just couldn't. He just couldn't cross that final hurdle. So I don't know what the adjustments are, but I'm curious. The other side of the coin is this: if you're David Taylor. There's one guy you have to worry about, in my opinion, at Worlds, right? So you can have some really targeted, focused game planning adjustments that he can make. But I don't. I'm not a wrestling coach. So what would those adjustments be, right? Because obviously that's not really how he wanted the match to go down, right? He would want it to materialize a little bit differently. So what do you change?
it's create the scrambles, right? It's exactly we're talking. Yazdani actually did a really good job, and that's why that coach should have said Yazdani did a great job. He was right there to win, and we just need to get one more score. Is probably what he should have said instead of this stupid statement he put out. He should have said something like, we had a great game plan. It was right there, but he can't give probably too much credit to the previous guy. So for David Taylor, it's the opposite of what Yazdani wants to do. Yazdani wants to not engage in those scrambles. David has to get to those scrambles more often because he's going to win those scrambles. And even if he is not going to win those scrambles, he's going to make the Yazdani so tired that then Yazdani's going to give up easy points later in the match.
So David attempted to create action throughout the match. He shot a lot of times, but basically he would just get stuffed, and Yazdani would sort of disengage in his own way and avoid this scoring position is done because I stopped the shot. So how do you create the scrambles? Do you just let him in? I mean, it will. And do you think Yazdani? He's probably
not going to go in.
Right.
No, I mean it's one of those. It's just a little harder hand fighting. I mean, it's not he's all that far off, right? A little harder hand fighting, maybe a different attempt at a setup, something to that effect, right? Obviously, you can't be careless in creating the scramble, but if you're David, that's what you want to do. You got to just make a little better setup and get to the leg, and once you get to the leg, usually it's going to solve itself. Because Yazdani at this point is. If he were to start diving in and creating scrambles, it would go very poorly for him. So he doesn't want to do that. He wants to do what he did. His game plan was good. That's what we're talking about.
Right. So I'm curious for it was a fascinating turn in the rivalry to have Yazdani go from just David's got his number to, oh man, this dude is super viable. He's got a lot of ways. He has a way to win the match. And now the fact that they can wrestle just a couple months later again, I think it's an interesting rivalry because it's an 0-3 rivalry, but it's still it's so compelling. It's such an interesting matchup.
It is.
And because it's so almost assured to happen again, it's not like a 74 where it's like Dakin Sidikov could hit, but Chamizo and you've got Kadi Magomedov and all these guys, we think it could happen. We thought it was going to happen in Tokyo and it didn't. But this one is a guarantee.
Yeah.
So, I
think it's fascinating, Christian, because it was, the first one kind of left you with a cliffhanger, you really want to see the second one. The first one, Yazdani was kicking his butt and then just fell over. And you're like, wow, is that really going to happen again? Is he really going to gas that hard 2 times in a row? And the second time, David kind of put it on him. And you're like, okay, you don't want to say this rivalry is over, but if it continues along this path, it's not going to, right? It's going to separate. Yeah. And then the third match, Yazdani he did a really good job. He made it as close as he could make. And now going into time 4, it's like, well, can he wrestle the same match and then avoid the takedown at the end? That's right. That's what it comes down to. So I think this rivalry is still really interesting.
There's been a different question each time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think for international wrestling, one of the things that would really engage the fan base more is if we could actually see these guys wrestle a lot. It sucks actually that we've only been able to see Yazdani and David wrestle 3 times over the course of 4 years or so, something like that.
Yeah, 3 and change. Yeah. No, completely agree. It's a great rivalry, and part of me wonders if the statement that he made is more about appeasing the Iranian wrestling fans and culture there. It's we just have to say that this was not acceptable and not good. And it's also, you're giving a little more hope and a little thing. Because if you say it was a good game plan, then.
They put the last coach on a stake and burned him after the Olympics.
Yeah, this guy.
It's not to do it for the other weight classes.
What's that?
Dude, their other weight classes suck. Do it on the other one. Burn the guy on the other weight class.
They don't care as much about those other ones.
It's
they
the
greatest.
They have this champion that he's he's an Olympic champion. He's the one that's supposed to be carrying the flag and bringing home. But you know what? Between the last 2 Olympics, he got a title. Which, if you ask me, I don't think he was the best 74 in 2016. And I don't think he's the best 86. So the fact that he's got a title, that's pretty freaking good. And he's a multiple world champion beyond that.
Best one that day.
He was that day.
Rio.
Yes. He was sad.
Yeah. So I think you. I understand what you're saying about he had to kind of push the last coach out. You could have very easily done that on the rest of the weight classes, and then commended Yazdani and said, "Hey, we're right there. This guy's David Taylor. He's the magic man. He's really, really good. We're gonna do our best. We're gonna try hard. We're gonna maybe implement a couple new things, not a whole new special program with a whole new mistakes he made." Yeah.
So it's exciting. It's an exciting rivalry. I'm happy that they'll wrestle again. Two awesome freaking wrestlers. I mean, what Yazdani was able to do, super fun guy to watch. Okay.
I'm excited for this next news. Break it down for him, Christian.
Okay. What's the next news? What do you
the next thing on the dock right after 688, and then we talk about Yazdani, and then this thing right here.
Oh yeah. Okay. So
this is fun.
We're ramping up. We had an FRL summit. We'll call it that because that sounds very big time.
A meeting of the minds.
Yes, talking about FRL for the future, what we want to do, and like, well, how can we juice up some elements of the show we're already doing, like the questions, which is like a really fun part of the show, that fan interaction. So, well, this is JD's project, so why don't you take it away? Tell them what we're going to have now.
Yeah, we have a new phone number. If y'all want to leave us a voicemail, that number is 515-509-5071.
We'll put it in the doc.
Yep. Once again, 515-509-5071. So if you want to call that number, leave a voicemail. If it's intriguing enough or a good enough question or whatever,
we'll play the audio.
Yeah, you get to get played on the show. We also have a video submission outlet. It's an email.
Yeah.
It's frlsubmissions@flowsports.tv. So if you send either a video recording of yourself asking a question or doing something cool, or maybe just an audio message, that's another way, similar to a voicemail, send it to frlsubmissions@flowsports.tv, and maybe you'll
this
get
is going to be
on the
awesome.
show.
Yeah. We're excited about this. You can do video stuff over Twitter, but not everyone has Twitter. A lot of people be like, I don't have Twitter. How do I do this? So many of you have made just FRL-specific Twitter accounts, which we appreciate. But this is another avenue. Send your videos to frlsubmissions@flowsports.tv or the phone number, which we will put in the thing. You can program
It's right there at the bottom of the screen. Well, if you're on the video.
Oh, yeah. If you're on the video, it's right there. And it's correct. So this is cool. We're excited about that. Questions from friends is very fun.
Christian, when you got burned on the live call-in, that was so great.
FRL number
wish
one.
that could happen again. These aren't live, though. I thought it was two.
These are not live.
It was. I was going to say FRL number one, great start. Ben Askren. What else can you ask for? FRL 2, you got Johnny from frickin' Roanoke lighting me up, asking me the hard-hitting questions. It was funny. It was funny. It was actually hilarious. I can't tell you how many friends I've played that for. And they just think it's the best. It's the best thing ever. But look at Ben. Ben's my friend.
I'm still laughing about it. How many years ago was
for
that?
this now.
Oh, wow.
That's
Do you
right.
really?
2 phones.
Wow. And JD has 2 phones.
Okay,
now.
well, I was getting nervous because I knew JD had a 515 number, which I don't have memorized, and I was thinking this.
That is
I'm
not
like,
my personal number.
Did
no.
JD just put his number on the screen? Like, I'm really not advising that JD gave the whole world his number right here, but
Yeah.
if he did, that's pretty ballsy.
No, I did not. I think it's because Sion created this number, I believe, or like coordinated it. So that's probably why it's a 515 number.
Wait, Sion has
I
control
thought
of
the
this
same
account?
thing.
Speaking of Sion, we had the name mispronunciation Olympics last week with Chael, and I don't know if you heard it. We should pull the clip, Ben,
No.
because
Can we pull it, please?
He made you
the
look.
episode.
He made you look like a dictionary pronunciation of words, because the following words. He said,
Just play it. Can we play it?
I don't have it. I don't have it. I don't have a clip.
Dang it.
And it was throughout the whole episode.
But there was like a 5-second window where he said Caspioli, Kirklovic, and Gizwowski.
Wait, who's Caspioli?
Cassiope. It was great.
Chael, come on.
Chael says everything with such confidence that it's just like, well, this is just how you say the name now. That's the way I took it. But it was great. But we give you a lot of grief about it, about your name pronunciations.
I mess up sometimes.
And of course, Sion is he is the OG of name mispronunciations.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, I feel like we've had the 3 great. This is an area you're probably bronze medalists behind Chael and Sion.
But we now have the bad name Bell. So anytime someone mispronounces a name,
you get a ding.
They get dinged.
Oh, it's on the table. So I thought this was going to be, when you put this in the doc, I figured this was going to be Tyler. There was going to be some type of electronic buzzer, and it was, it was going to be something like that. I did not realize it's actually on the desk.
It's old school.
What I need one. What if you guys mess up?
We'll run to comfort.
We'll ding each other.
Yeah,
mail me a bell.
We'll mail you a bell. Or just go to your local Comfort Inn and just swipe one. That's fine. We also have cold spray. Look at this. We got cold spray in the bell.
Yes, this episode of FRL is brought to you by Cold Spray.
By Cold Spray. We're not going to give out the brand name, but this is for
one
the
of
hot takes.
Can one of you guys do something today? Can you guys get hurt on film, purposely hurt each other, and then do the cold spray, see if it works?
I will judo chop Christian and then proceed to cold spray him.
You don't have to give him any ideas about him.
Right. As he carcasses and rolls around on the desk.
Yeah. JD would.
As if it is the carpet.
Yeah. JD would tear me up. It wouldn't be very hard to hurt me. So yeah, we have props now. And we have props in voicemail and email. It's what an evolution. Uh-oh. Okay, I thought I was gonna sneeze. That was close. Holy cow!
I thought there was one more thing we're adding. Do you guys have it in the doc? Because if not, I'm just gonna say it.
Just say it, because I don't know what you're referencing.
Well, it's in the doc. We're gonna try to. We're gonna attempt to, and maybe JD might even hold the tryouts potentially. Okay, we're gonna try to get people who represent certain programs.
Oh yeah.
Have we talked about this?
No. Go ahead.
Okay, we're gonna try to get people who represent certain programs to come on and give us, weekly, bi-weekly, something updates on the status of their program. And so obviously we need someone who is well-versed in that program. We need someone who's semi-entertaining, and we'll bring them on and let them talk about Iowa or Penn State or, whomever.
And we're not talking about coaches or athletes. We don't want any coach speak. Correct. We want total homers. We want people that are absolutely biased and will yell at Ben for hating Iowa
be like I am from Missouri.
Yes. Just a blind homer. Except Missouri, 2 junior world champs. They're actually really good. But how many? I was like 8 or 9 All-Americans for. You may have had 10.
I picked 8 All-Americans last year.
A conservative 8.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we're gonna do that. Also, little guest news tomorrow. Braxton Amos. Thursday. King G. If you don't know King G,
he's an OG.
He's an OG. This is a guy. Gena is his name. He's a Russian who helped Bader and Joe Flo back in the day. He was kind of like the liaison for them. He would help get them into nationals and stuff. He'd be like, "Yo, bring the Tommy jeans. Bring the Tommy jeans. You get into Russian nationals." So he's going to be like our Russian correspondent. He's got the news on the streets. He knows what's happening in Russia. He can give us the down and dirty, keep us plugged in on our greatest enemy right now in wrestling, Russia.
Our friend.
But he'll be our friend, and he'll give us he'll give us the straight dope.
Hey,
you guys, inside info.
You guys brought up 2 names, and I don't even know if you heard of the story, but I totally meant to tell you guys a story a couple weeks back. I had the Mizzou reunion. We had all the Mizzou guys here at my house.
Yes.
Well, on Saturday, we're out playing disc golf, and this literal downpour happens, and we have the front yard slip and slide. So all the dudes are all soaking wet, and we go start going slip and sliding, right? Mm-hmm. Well, ex-Flow employee and Flow employee, Joe Williamson and Mark Bader, decide to wrestle on the slip and slide. This is not a good idea.
Naturally.
Of course.
Okay. Mark Bader hits a fake, boom, snapped out. He bounced Joe's head off the ground so hard.
Oh my gosh.
Face full of mud.
So it stops raining. And Joe is my teammate in disc golf. And he's like, "Ben, I can't play. My shoulder hurts." I'm like, "Well, I need you. I need you right now."
Y'all are getting old.
He's like, "Dude, I can't throw. My shoulder hurts." He went to the doctor and he had a small fracture. I think he's better now. He had a small fracture in his shoulder. Mark Bader got Gable Stevenson-like snaps. Listen, you guys think Mark Bader's small? Don't mess with him. He breaks shoulders on snap downs.
Don't do it. Bader's a beast.
I wrestled with Bader, yeah.
He is not fun to wrestle. He doesn't get tired. He's very Speaking of Bader,
Yeah,
baby,
congratulations.
he's got a new baby girl. How about
yes,
that? 2 weeks early.
Mm-hmm.
Good for him. He's out on paternity leave, doing the dad thing, but man, he's got the dad strength now. Dangerous.
Two
company.
times.
I hope Joe doesn't get mad at me for that.
Well, Joe's a
Also, he
beast
must
too.
have sprayed some cold spray on that if he's already kind of doing okay after fracturing his shoulder,
It was,
collarbone.
I don't know what he said. He said it was a small fracture in his shoulder or something. I think he's good now. We should have had some cold spray. If we had some cold spray, I might have got him to finish the round of disc golf. Like 7 holes left or whatever we had after the rain delay.
Yeah, Joe Flo's a beast as well, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Whole Williamson family, bunch of hammers. Okay, so we have where do we want to go? There's like quite a few little news notes.
We had a long weekend.
JD's getting roasted in the messages already.
Oh, good.
For what?
He said Keith said he called your phone already, and it's not set up with voicemail.
Oh, yeah, I should probably set that up.
Wait,
He said, "What's
you gave out the number for a voicemail, and the voicemail's not set up?
Well, I got the number going. I guess I got to set up the voicemail too.
Go set up the voicemail right now. Take for real. Take a 5-minute break, set up the voicemail, and then it'll be activated. We'll see you in a couple minutes.
Keith, we're sorry. Call him in 10 minutes.
We're gonna set it up, Keith. Sorry for the pump fake from JD. He's gonna go set it up. You can beat it. Get out of here, and come back in 5 minutes when the voicemail's set up. All right. So,
Oh my gosh.
Spencer Lee to Rudis. This is
there we go.
I feel like this is the first big apparel news with NIL. Am I correct in this, Ben? I haven't missed anything like Yanni or.
Well, Yanni did Spartan, which at this
Okay.
point, they were more of I don't know. I guess I would say event programs. I guess they're getting into the apparel business. I think they have some apparel, or maybe it's just not in wrestling at this point. I'm uneducated on that.
Yeah.
So that was announced last week, but yeah, this is huge. I think obviously with Gable leaving, Yanni and Spencer are probably 1-2 as far as big names are concerned. It is interesting. I did kind of know about this a little while back. But it's interesting because it's hard because Spencer isn't going to be able to wear Rudis shirt, shorts, shoes, anything at matches. So it sucks because Rudis is going to, sponsor his athlete, but obviously they'll get him outside of that. And then after his career, they'll continue to have a relationship with him.
Yeah, I think you can work around some of that stuff. Yeah, it's not ideal that he can't wear the thing, but with his social media and others, I think his name and brand is big enough to transcend some of that stuff. Obviously, if you could wear a Rudis singlet and shoes, that would be better than Nike. But I feel like they should let them wear whatever shoes they want.
Yeah, I don't think the colleges are going to give that up because when they sign these, when the major colleges sign these deals, generally they're for all sports, right? And obviously, certain colleges, what would be like Under Armour, for example, did not have a wrestling shoe. So if they were an Under Armour school, they would get to wear a different type of wrestling shoe and have a different type of deal because those weren't accessible. But obviously, a big time and apparel company who's signing a multi-million-dollar deal, and really what they want probably is football and basketball. They don't care about a wrestler's demands. They don't care about the wrestler saying, no, I want this. But either way, dude, I tweeted it. I love that college athletes can make money off their name, image, and likeness. I think it's been a long time coming. I never understood people's arguments against their ability to do so. I understand the argument against them being paid as athletes, but not their ability to earn money. And so just so happy. I'm so happy to see these guys making money. It's outstanding.
Yep. Very cool. Rudis. They obviously make great stuff. Ben's wearing a Rudis shirt right now, although it's in Japanese. But they also,
it says a way of life.
That could say anything.
Well, I don't know what that says right there.
Yeah, exactly. Who knows? Remember when it was just the boss move to get Japanese letters?
I think people still do that.
On you? People need to stop doing that. It was way hotter in the streets in 2002. 2002 through 2006 was probably the peak Japanese letter tattoo era.
Oh my gosh!
Of all eras, I feel like it's phased out. While it's still maybe present, you don't know what it says. It could be saying anything.
Yeah, I do not know what it says. Max knows some Japanese, so I will.
Really?
I could confirm with Max. Yeah, and then actually one time I did have I had the Sly Fox shirt on,
Mm-hmm.
and I was in Vegas walking around, and a lady who was former Soviet stopped me, and she's like, "What's this shirt?" And I'm like, "It's Sly Fox, it's wrestling." And she's like, "That says Sneaky Fox." And I'm like, Sly, Sneaky, that's like the same thing. Give me a break here.
They're certainly cousins. Yeah,
Yes.
my wife's or my brother's wife apparently can read Russian, and she says like, she's like, this says Idris Liska or something like that, which means Sly Fox. So
Yeah.
some people can read Russian in America.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she's a correspondent as well. She's lived overseas and stuff. I don't know. Maybe JD.
I'll talk to
Wait, did you set up the voicemail?
Yeah.
I want a personal voicemail. You've reached JD
It's
Radar.
not personal. It is not personal yet, but I will customize it after this show.
I want a custom. You've reached the voicemail of Flow Wrestling Radio Live. Please leave a funny or interesting comment or question, and it might get played on the show. Something like that. Some with a little flavor, a little personality.
Yeah.
Look,
I really like the
Flavor
video
Town. We'll take
submission
it to
more.
Flavor Town.
What'd you say, Ben?
I like the video submission more. I really hope people use that feature. I think that's going to be fun. I think that, obviously the Twitter questions, we get a lot of Twitter questions and we answer a lot of them. But it is hard to convey everything over Twitter, right? It's kind of an art to convey a message over Twitter. And there's just so much more you can get into it, especially if we can take their video, we can play it for the people. We'll probably know more exactly what they mean. Because sometimes the questions are like, we're not really sure what they mean. But here's the question that we want to answer, so we're going to do it.
Right. So, next little news note. We talked about Spencer Lee. We talked about Bishop Sycamore. That's an interesting story. Check that out if you haven't. It has nothing to do with wrestling.
Shout out to that entrepreneur of a coach.
Seriously,
pull off what
shout
he
out.
did, that is impressive.
Yes.
I compare
Unethical, but impressive.
I compare that to the
Yes.
Fire Fest. It's like, okay, you got something,
yeah.
but it was ultimately always going to be found out completely. It was like
Yes.
obviously going to fail. So I don't give you a lot of credit for something that had 0% chance of ever
bull
succeeding.
crap,
It
Christian.
was
Give that
succeeded.
man
He got
credit.
his money and
Yes.
played.
What? Who?
He-
Fire
it's-
Fest?
No,
Or Bishop Sycamore?
Yeah.
Bishop Sycamore.
Oh, Firefest. But I'm
And-
talking about Firefest.
and Firefest got
this
paid
guy.
too.
No, they didn't.
Yes.
They lost tons
Yeah.
of money.
Okay. We don't know. He might be in jail. So you give credit. So you can respect multiple aspects of a person and not respect other ones, right? So like that Firefest guy, I appreciate his audacity. I appreciate his hustle. Now his integrity is probably not so good. I don't want to have his integrity, but I do respect other parts of it.
Yeah. His vision.
Okay, whatever.
His vision. There we go.
His love for jet skis.
Oh,
He
it's
loves
so
jet
great.
skis.
Yes.
Remember Ja Rule was involved with that?
Yes.
Yes.
You need to have Ja Rule needs a seat at your table. That's period.
Can we get Ja Rule as the announcer for the next Flow card?
It's murder. We can ask. If he's
He's probably in need of some money now, so we could get him for pretty low.
I think
Yeah.
he actually got sued with the Firefest guy.
Yeah, I think he did.
listen, you can't
He's got to pay bills.
you can't pin down Ja Rule that easy. Man.
Oh, it's so funny.
All right. Cornell Robinson. Our guy.
Yeah.
Head coach of Wyoming Seminary. This is awesome.
Just led the cadet men's freestyle team to a wonderful performance. So
Yeah. Been in Missouri for a little bit now, taking the job at Wyoming Seminary, which will be a great opportunity for him. So good stuff there.
I think this points to kind of what I've been saying about the Wyoming Sem, and I don't love it, but it is what it is. It being a recruiting position, and if it's a recruiting position, he's probably going to do pretty damn good at it. He has great connections. He from all angles looks very likable. Gets along with the kids, seems to treat them well. So I think he's going to do a great job there.
Yeah, I agree. It is an interesting sort of job because a lot of it is just selling parents of already very good wrestlers to come to your school. So, and then you just, with the idea that, hey, they're going to get this is a good education. They're going to be able to go wrestle wherever they want, et cetera, et cetera. They wrestle a national schedule, which is a big deal.
Yes.
I get it. So good for him. Jameel Kelly, Tar Heel Wrestling Club head coach, notable as well. He and Coleman back together. Former Cowboys.
Jameel Kelly, I feel like, has been flipping sides of the country for a while now. He's got jet lag.
NC State. I can't remember the order, but it's like NC State.
In Arizona State, right? Mm-hmm. And Stanford, he was there too.
And I'm pretty sure he was at Cal Poly.
Was he?
And, I don't think I'm making that up.
I think you're right.
Yeah, he coached at Cal Poly, NC State. Yeah, I think he coached maybe at he was on staff at Oklahoma State for a little bit, right?
I mean, obviously he trained there post collegiately. Yeah, NC State, Stanford, Arizona State. It does not list. It doesn't list. Oh no, it does. Cal Poly. Yeah, Cal Poly also. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, nice. Obviously, good international coach there. All right. Looking at the. Go ahead, Ben.
And they have great middleweights. So I mean, for as far as I'm sure he still gets on the mat every time I see him, he looks in great shape. So Austin O'Connor, Kennedy Monday is still there. Who's the other guy from Wyoming? Sem that's really good. Oh,
Lachlan McNeil. He's still there.
So good for them.
Kennedy is gone.
Okay.
So looking at someone here in the YouTube chat says Amos going to beat AJ Ferrari. So I guess that's in response to me saying AJ was going to be that Braxton's coming on tomorrow. We shall see. It's the match.
So that's a crazy one. We've never seen that match. We talk about Yazdani and DT not wrestling a lot. The fact that those two haven't wrestled is like, what the heck?
Well, tried to make it happen at Who's Number One.
Yeah, I know.
And didn't happen. But should happen this year. Still not a guarantee. They have to, they have to hit, and they probably won't duel each other, so it'll probably be an NCAA type of match. Braxton, though, I was reading Andy's article, The Pulse, which is great. You should check it out. Braxton said he's coach speaking it a little bit. He said, "Well, first I have to qualify for NCAAs," which, while factually true, come on, Braxton, you're gonna qualify for NCAAs, buddy. Like you could moonwalk to qualification for NCAAs. Although it was a little strange this year. Bo Bartlett is not Braxton Amos. Bo Bartlett. Bo Bartlett. Had he wrestled,
I'm just gonna keep sticking that dagger in your side until he does better.
I'm impenetrable. That dagger cannot penetrate because had Bo Bartlett wrestled at 149 the entire year, he would have qualified. He did not, so he did not. Braxton Amos will wrestle 197 the entire time. Also, Braxton is better than Bo. Coming into
Braxton
college.
Didn't wrestle any matches at 197 last year. He did none.
He did none matches, but I'm saying he didn't. He wasn't. Yes, he wasn't in college last year. He will be.
Okay,
in
so
college.
many college matches last year as me.
I guess there were no opens last year, so he couldn't have went and wrestled at an open.
Yeah, he was wrestling. I mean, he won last chance in both styles, and then made the final.
He didn't win in freestyle. He lost to he went and played football for Syracuse.
Well, I said he made the final.
Oh, I thought you said he won.
No. But he made he was wrestling, he just wasn't wrestling I think he did a couple cards too, maybe not.
Yeah.
I don't recall. But he was wrestling, just not collegiately. He'll be there. But Braxton Amos, let me be the first to say, I believe in you that you will qualify for the NCAA wrestling tournament. Other people may not believe in you, but I think it's going to happen. But anyways, I thought that was a funny little note. Okay. So next topic up. Who's number one? We didn't talk about this with Ben. So
we've not.
I don't even know if you heard. Ben, who's number one?
I did hear.
Will be college rules. 7 minutes, 3-2-2, all the things.
Oh.
Edge rules.
I did not hear that.
Oh yeah. Danger zone. Name a college rule, good or bad. It's gonna be in the
wow. That's interesting that you guys are going to. Okay, so certain things are great, like for example, the out of bounds rule. The out of bounds rule should just be put in like the high school out of bounds rules are the college out of bounds rules, unless for some reason it's too dangerous, right? Like there's a wall or something because we're in a small high school gym. Because the high school out of bounds rules are stupid.
I think that's the problem. Is like many high schools have smaller mats and are in more confined spaces, and so it does become an issue of you will be wrestling on a gym floor if you do college out of bounds rules.
But there's also a lot of times, like I think when it matters, so the high school state tournament in Wisconsin, there's plenty of out of bounds space that they could wrestle in, and it would be acceptable. So, like I said, if they should have a kind of an asterisk that says, if there's enough space, we can do college out of bounds rules just because they're so much superior. So what I was gonna say is, for rankings purposes, obviously this is going to determine who the number one ranked wrestler is, but you could see a result which happens in which the outcome is changed by the rule set. So a 4-point near fall instead of, what if someone gets a 4 count, 1, 2, 3, 4? In high school, that would be 2 points. In college rules, that's 4 points, right? So he gets more points based on the rule set.
It's no different than the fact that freestyle comes into play with these rankings as well.
Yeah. No, it's just cooler. It's better. It's better rules. It was Levi Haynes' idea, which I thought was a great idea. So he said, "Yeah, why not? Let's do it."
And the 7-minute match, because obviously we're not
freestyle.
There's no freestyle matches. I really would kind of be in favor of you guys doing. Maybe it's not a who's number one exactly, but some type of big freestyle card, because there is for high school kids. Maybe not ones who are junior eligible and qualify for the junior trials, junior worlds, but some type of big high school card in the spring with the better high school kids would be kind of fun.
I would, except I just think it's a tough thing to place when they're all trying to make teams, whether it's cadet or junior, and they've got their eyes on Akron or they've got their eyes on the Open. So it's tough. And then they're on the team, and then they're on that track with the camps and everything. So it's sort of a tougher thing to make happen. Whereas this is the kickoff to the folk style season. You kind of get all the guys together, the best guys, and figure out who's number one.
Well, you know what's really nice, and they've already announced it for next year, but I think this is it didn't happen last year or the year before because of Corona, but I think it's a newer thing is they're doing all of the open trials in Vegas, right? So you're going to have the cadet team chosen like the last weekend in April. I think I think that's only the junior open and then there's the junior trials after, but for the cadets, it is the trials in April. They're all in the same place.
Yeah, that's going to be a bananas week in Vegas.
Weekend. Yeah, absolutely.
Do you like Vegas? I think we talked about that.
I like Vegas. I mean, I don't love it. It's not like my favorite place to go, but I enjoy it. Everything's usually pretty well streamlined. But I really love. This was supposed to happen the last 2 years and didn't. I love the idea that all of those are going to go on one weekend, right, or one week. Just because we're going to, we as a club are going to encourage all of our best kids to go to that. We're going to get to coach all of them in all of the age groups. That's going to be really nice as opposed to being separate weekends. Like, so the 1 year U15 was one weekend, juniors was one weekend, cadets was one weekend. So condensing those into a singular weekend is really ideal.
It's like a 4 birds, 1 stone scenario.
Yes, absolutely.
You have any kids double enter cadet and juniors?
I wouldn't encourage. I mean, like, dude, there's just so few guys, like maybe a Gable who could do that. I wouldn't really encourage. And, that 17-year-old age group when you're eligible for the cadets and still can bump up, man, that's tough. It used to be different when they had the lighter weight classes for juniors. Remember, we used to have like a 110 or something like
50,
that.
Yeah,
or something really
Spencer
light.
150.
Crazy. That was crazy small for the junior age group.
Yeah.
No, I think it's great. I mean, what I love, one of the things, and I think you probably, I think you already kind of talk like this with Caleb is, those guys who are really good in their 15. They can go wrestle in that event, and then they can watch the guys who ideally they're looking up to. Right, a lot of guys in our club look up to Keegan O'Toole. Now on the same weekend they're trying to wrestle the 15U or the 17U. They can go watch him win the 20U. That's a really cool thing to have all of your guys there at the one thing and kind of seeing that next age group wrestle out.
Yeah, that is awesome. Speaking of Keegan, I don't know have you talked to him since he got back in the States?
Yeah, we went back. We're actually having a welcome home party for him this Sunday.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
JD come?
Should be fun. JD's welcome. We're going to have a little wrestling clinic right before it with one of our other guys. He's 3-time NCAA champion and head coach now at UW Parkside. Nick Becker's doing a little wrestling clinic. That's going to lead in the welcome home party. We're going to have Chick-fil-A. We're going to have some cake. It's going to be a great time.
Chick-fil-A on Sunday. This is a first.
I know people.
Wow.
Listen, You don't know pool until you get Chick-fil-A on Sunday. Chick-fil-A on Sunday pool is next level.
Absolutely.
So you're a very influential person, Ben. That is impressive. I'm trying to get JD around some better influences. I'm worried he is just on the precipice of joining a biker gang and living a life of crime.
Sons of Anarchy.
He's already he has no use for buttons for most of his shirts, as you can clearly see right now. He just fits the description of an at-risk youth. So I'm just trying to get him around the right people. I'm trying to change lives. Oh, that's it.
Hey, Spencer in the chat, he asked, are you going to have them do the college out-of-bounds stalling rules? That's a great question because you guys hate them.
Everything, yes. But you know what? I'll say this.
You hate them.
I hate them. But you know what? It's better than high school out-of-bounds rules.
You know what you should do, Christian? You guys could just do see how the push-out rule goes.
Step out.
I don't want to do.
Just see it. Let's just see. Let's just see what it looks like.
When it's just mat wrestling after a while, so you stand them back up, so it's a little more entertaining.
No. Let's not go that far, JD. Don't go crazy. Wait, listen. Let me ask. Let's convince you live on radio right here.
Do it.
Why not? Why not? What do you got to lose here?
I don't think it's the kids should be put in the position where they're the guinea pigs for a new rule set, right? And where we think we know all the unintended things, but also putting officials in the position for a brand new rule set, I don't think it's fair to the kids either. And I think this is cooler.
But at some point, it does have to be new. At some point, if someone's going to push the envelope, at some point we have to try it.
Yeah.
And yes, could there be something very controversial that happens? Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a possibility. But could we also watch it and maybe say, "Wow, that wasn't what we expected. Let's not do that." Or could we say,
freestyle?
"That was great. We should do that." And then everyone can point to your event and say, "Listen, that event was, wow, that was great. Let's do some more of that."
I'm not opposed to having some level of experimentation with events we do. I just don't. Not who's number one.
This was an easy blanket. College rules.
Yeah, college rules.
Okay,
I think it's cool.
Right.
These guys are going to be college stars in several years, the next handful of years. So it's just kind of a watch these guys with college rules before they get to college.
Yeah. Also, we will debut. The new NCAA rules will debut on FloWrestling's Who's Number One.
That's actually true. The new overtime rules.
You'll see the new overtime rules for the first time ever, not in a college match, but high school. So that'll be sweet. Yeah. So we'll see how those go. I like the new overtime rules, even though sometimes I'm like, it's so neutral. It's like so catered to neutral when mat is 2/3 of the thing. But yeah, I like it.
I mean, it's no criteria, but
it's no criteria. Okay. But you know what? We'll take what we can get. Right?
Moving on.
Yeah, Ben hates it, but he loves it. He secretly loves it. Okay.
Which match are you most excited for of the Who's Number One? We got the list right here.
Okay, so looking at, I don't know if Tyler can pull in just even a screenshot of the matches. There's a couple. One, I think the headliner. The big man super match, Christian Carroll versus Nick Feldman. Mm-hmm. These two guys are, Nick Feldman is so good, so technically sound. Carroll is just a freak. This guy's so young, so big and good. I really don't know who's going to win. I think it's an awesome. There's one other match that could, all of high school wrestling, that I think could be as possibly compelling as this one, and that's Jesse Mendez versus Nick Bouzakis. That match can't happen because Nick is not healthy or able to take the match. So this is the only other match in my mind. It's like, wow. I have no idea how it's going to play out. It's going to have pound for pound, big board implications, et cetera, et cetera. I think it's going to be really, really entertaining, right? It's not going to be two heavyweights that stand around. You saw Feldman last year at Who's Number One.
Yeah, he's great.
This guy is next level technician. Christian Carroll, he's got it all as well. So really excited for that one. And honestly, Mark Anthony McGowan versus Nate Jessaroga, that match, the way that, only 4 minutes of wrestling. It's like, I feel like I wanted
now
more
we're going
out of that. 7 minutes.
You got to feel like that favors Jessaroga, right?
Oh, yeah.
He guessed McGowan out in 4 minutes.
Yeah.
That or I don't know if gassed out is the right word, but fatigue definitely played a factor in that match in just the 4 minutes. So it'll be interesting.
Things opened up for sure there. Now McGowan, if he can he get something going on top, that'll be probably his a potential option for him. But yeah, I'm really excited for that one. I think it's a really cool, fun rivalry too.
Another match that I think I'm pretty sure it's injury. You can correct me if I'm wrong here. That I think would be fun. Would be Cody Chittim and Meyer Shapiro. That would be a really good match.
Yeah, Cody. I don't know what his exact high school plans are, but he may not do high school wrestling anymore.
No,
is what it sounds
he's
like.
Pretty much done with high school wrestling. Just gonna do like college opens and senior level freestyle.
So, because last year he went to Blair, I guess, or.
Well, last year he didn't. He just stayed at his home and trained and was homeschooled. But the year previous, he was at Blair, yes.
Okay, got it.
Okay, also...
And so...
go ahead,
sorry,
Ben.
Christian.
No,
I got Chittim questions. So is he going to do... So he would have 2 years of high school left. Someone told me, and this is just like flashing back, because one of my high school kids told me, and sometimes they tell me stuff that's not correct, because high school kids are generally relatively gullible. They told me he's reclassifying so he could go to college a year earlier. True or false? Have you heard the rumor?
That is false.
Not true. Okay.
That's false.
But I also heard the same thing. I heard that as well.
Okay.
Yes, but that is false. Unless plans have changed in the past several weeks, that is false.
Okay.
So he still has 2 years before he'll go to college then.
Yes, to Minnesota.
Gophers, yeah. Okay, so there's another cool thing we're doing that's different. We're going to have for the first time ever an 8th grader. His name's Bo Bassett. You may have heard of him.
He's a cadet world champion.
He won the Earth tournament earlier this summer. Now, he is such a unique talent, such a really special. We're just like, man, it'd be just awesome to have this guy in our event. He's taken a guy named Seth Mendoza, who's a little hammer from Illinois as well.
Won Fargo and has actually owned this rivalry.
Yes.
Granted, the last time they wrestled, they were like, I don't know, 10 years old.
Seth
they're 11 now.
Seth is going to be a freshman right now, or what?
What was that?
Seth's going to be a freshman this year?
Seth is currently like a freshman, started, this month or whatever, yes.
He's getting his syllabuses as we speak.
Well, hey, listen, in all fairness, and listen, I like Bo Bassett a lot. So don't take this as I don't like Bo Bassett, but I'm going to point out an obvious. And you know what? I only know of one person has ever happened with in Wisconsin, but I was out in California with Cormier a couple weeks ago, and he said like 4 of his guys in the room were doing it. And I think it's also popular out east, and I hate it. And that's guys who are doing both cadet years prior to entering high school. So that's what Bo Bassett's doing. It makes him extremely old. So USA Wrestling determines age group by birth year, right? So 2007, 2008, whatever it is. I have never coached a kid who's done both cadet years prior to going to high school. Usually either they're a second-year schoolboy as an 8th grader or they're a first-year cadet, right? If you are a second-year cadet, USA Wrestling cadet, before you enter high school, you are extremely old for your grade. I guess this is happening fairly regularly in California and on the East Coast. I don't like it. I think that's too old. That means you're going to graduate high school at 19-ish years old, and you will turn 20 on the year of your graduation.
All very true. The holdback thing is, will often be debated. For me personally, I couldn't imagine doing an extra year of school. Like that is just the most unthinkable. RBY, I think he did the smartest thing. I think he just took a year off. If you were going to do a holdback thing, just let it not go. I hated school. I've said that many times. I would never want to do it again. I don't pretend to understand the reasons. I think for someone like Bo, he's clearly ready to wrestle on the high school level, right? He's clearly big enough to wrestle 106. He's not going to be undersized or anything. But I don't understand the decisions but it's one a lot of people make. I mean, my goodness, it happened a lot in Ohio, right?
Yeah.
As well.
Absolutely. I kind of get it because I know my guys who are really young. So the guys who, for example, have a midsummer birthday, and I can tell you a couple of them, and they're a second-year schoolboy as an 8th grader. Those kids are would be essentially 2 birth years younger than Bo Bassett, but be in the same grade. And obviously we're using Bo Bassett, but there's a lot of other people.
Mm-hmm.
He's just the most notable one doing this right now. I do encourage those kids, like, hey, if you want to compete at a national level, like, you should consider holding back here because you're 2 years younger. Now, someone who is older, someone who's a cadet already as an 8th grader, I have never encouraged any of those guys to hold back. But so I think it's like, let's keep up with other people, because that's kind of what I'm thinking when I have a really good kid, but he's 2 birth years younger than some of the other kids that are the same grade. I'm like, hey, like, I realize you're really good. That being said, if someone's 2 years older, it's going to be difficult to keep up with them competitively. So it's something you should consider.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, so are you saying that the holdbacks are not a thing in Wisconsin?
I am saying I can only think of one person, not an AWA kid, who I can remember who's done both cadet years prior to entering high school. I can think of one person. That's it. And so they're not a thing like they are in California or Pennsylvania or Ohio. Like, those kids are very clearly older than the Wisconsin. So Pico's the other one that was really notable that did both cadet years prior to high school. Obviously, he's from California. Yeah, but that doesn't happen in Wisconsin. I mean, there's a lot of kids who are younger, like to the point where they do, like one of the kids, Aiden Sinclair, we had. His first cadet year was his first year of high school. His second cadet year will be his second year of high school. So he's the same birth year as Bo Bassett, but he's going to be a sophomore.
Yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't want to do it if I were the kid, but I'm also not an elite athlete yet.
Yes.
Who's to say what the future holds, Ben? I don't know.
Yet.
So we're really excited about that one. If you listen to Bo, if you follow him on social media, if you listen to his interviews, this is just like good kid, all-American kid.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And then this Seth Mendoza, he's like takes it to the same level. You got to go to unleashedbyseth.com. This guy.
What? He's got a website?
Oh, he's got a website. Tyler, you should pull it up and just scroll through Unleashed by Seth. This kid, in addition to being an absolute hammer in wrestling, he's like a legit woodworker who sells like all this. He like makes these like. Are you looking at this, Ben?
I'm looking at it. What in the world?
So, my story. So
how's he got time for all this?
That's what I'm saying. This guy, he does it all. He makes all this stuff. He gives these donations to like police departments, where he makes these awesome like American flags. You can like order. He makes dog leashes as well. Just a little entrepreneur. His dad. If you go to wrestling, dedicating every season to our fallen. My dad was a Marine and has known many fellow Marines who have given the ultimate sacrifice. I decided to honor a different fallen service member by wearing their name on my singlet. I like to tell a story about this brave man when someone asked me about my singlet. And he's a young hammer who's won it all, and up to this point. And man, what a kid! What an awesome
Seriously.
kid!
These are two tremendous Americans.
Two tremendous Americans going to be wrestling.
Two Patriots taking the mat.
Patriots.
Except this dude's got a Bears flag for sale. Like, no one wants that, Seth. You wasted your time on this.
He's from the Chicagoland area.
Seth, you're a great kid. You made a Bears flag. What are you doing, bro?
You got to play the hits. Listen, it's vastly American flag. If you're watching the show, I'm going to order one. I'm going to order a flag.
You better not order a Bears flag. You can order an American flag. That's great. Don't do the Bears thing.
I want one for the set. We at some point we're going to have like an actual FRL set. I want an American flag from Unleashed by Seth. So I think I'm going to order one.
You should get him to make an FRL American flag.
Yeah.
No, let's just come on. I want an American flag. This oversized American flag, this might be the move. It's a little rugged, like Old Glory. I like it. $200. I think that's a deal. This is a giant
It is
flag.
kind of a good deal. I think he could probably raise his prices a little bit.
Yeah. Seth, I mean, you're the entrepreneur, not me. I just work here. But 48 by 26 has engraved stars with the red and wood stripes. It has a rustic yet clean look with a polyurethane finish. Seth, I'm sold. You just put the picture in there. I'm in. So Unleashed by Seth. I can't wait to meet this kid and talk to him and maybe order an oversized American flag. because I love America, and I just have to hope that JD won't defile it, won't do something to it. He might. I might
light it
show
on
up.
fire. Yeah, it's wood. He might light it on fire.
It's very.
Oh, come on.
I'm gonna have to ask Seth how flammable this wooden flag is. Will he just spray paint a hammer and sickle on it? I don't know. I'm not saying he will. I'm saying he'll consider it.
I've never disrespected the flag.
All right, yeah, that's true. We have one hanging here at Flo because we're great patriots, and he's not defiled it yet, and I don't think he will.
Hilarious.
Okay, so Unleashed by Seth. I'm looking forward to Unleashed by Seth and versus Bo Bassett. And yeah, check out unleashedbyseth.com. Orders. Don't flood the servers, which could happen. But get an oversized flag. I'm sure he ships.
We should get a NIL deal. Like, hey, what's it called again? Unleashed by Seth. You get 20% off if you mention the code FRL.
That'd be good. But he also needs to raise his prices. Then
he does
get the promo code.
He might not be able. He might have to hire some other people to create the demand that we put on him.
Yeah. Well, that's good problems. What if he ends up on Shark Tank or something? This would be great. This is the kind of thing that goes on Shark Tank. I think people will be impressed by it. Okay. So where do we go next? It's 9:22. Oh, why don't we go, Ben?
Yes.
You tweeted about
you want to talk about that?
Obesity. Yeah, why not? I think it's interesting. I think a lot about this kind of stuff. I thought it was interesting. Maybe start kind of with your perspective, and then we can discuss further.
Yeah, I guess just the more. So if someone says something about the BMI scale, the BMI scale is bullcrap. Let's ignore that.
Yes.
For a second, because it is not a good scale. They should probably develop something a little better than that. But anything the government's in charge of generally is not all that well done. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I started thinking about this a lot. I obviously listen to podcasts, and just the more and more I listen to, it's like the more important health is. And so I've even, for me, I was competitive. I had to weigh in for 20 some years straight, maybe more than that. And then Liz, I got fat and I had a hip surgery. I couldn't do anything. And then I'm like, this is dumb. Why am I getting fat? I need to start getting in better shape. And so I've started taking my stuff more seriously. And, I think about that a lot for the kids too. If kids are not knowing participants in their own health for the first, let's say, however many, 8 to 10 years of their life, probably, maybe potentially even longer than that, really. And so if we as parents allowed them to get really overweight, you're just giving them such a disadvantaged start, right? They're starting at 8 or 10, and then to get healthy after that it's not impossible, but it's going to be really, really difficult. And when you look at like the leading killers in America, a lot of them have to do with obesity, right? Diabetes, heart disease, et cetera, et cetera. Those are obesity issues. And so it's like, as a parent, to put yourself at that much of a disadvantage is like, man, that is a hard pill to swallow for your kid. So yeah, I think it's not good. I kind of think in 20, 30 years, we might think of it the same way we think of, if you were to drive by, Christian, you see a parent smoking a cigarette with their kid in the car, you think like, oh, what the F is that parent doing? Like, that's kind of how I think we're going to think about it.
Yeah, and I think that would be probably a great thing, a great development. I think so much of the issue is rooted in like, well, I don't really know, but there's a high degree of ignorance, right? Just which is not that's not a negative. That just means like the kids don't know, the parents don't know. The information's all out there, but some people feel like they're in life, they're just kind of dealt a genetic hand. And in a lot of ways that is the case, but there's so many things you do have a lot of control over. But I think people will be like, man, I'm overweight. My parents were overweight. I'm going to be overweight. But it's not a guarantee. It doesn't have to be that way. And also it's like, you can't just get caught up in the number on the scale either. Like some people are going to be a little heavier. Some people there's a lot of there's a lot of skinny fat people too that are not in good shape either, that are unhealthy. And it's just how they kind of,
I mean, that's kind of me, Christian. Like I said, when I retired for the last time, I'm like, dude, I literally couldn't work out after I retired from the UFC. I couldn't wrestle. I was really bad shape with my hip. And so it was like, whatever. I've been disciplined for the last 20 years. I'm going to eat some ice cream if I want to eat some ice cream. Deal with it, And then I had my hip surgery. I couldn't work out literally at all. And I got fat because I have the propensity to do so because I love to eat, and I couldn't work out. And then it's like, the more podcast listeners like, why am I doing this to myself? This is freaking stupid. And, so then it's like, okay, let's take this more seriously. And so then, you look at kids and it's like, why are we going to deal them this hand? And yes, do some have the ability to get a little chunkier, a little easier. Yeah. But we all have the ability within a certain extent to control it. And I actually saw someone on my Twitter posted like it's called hypothyroidism. And they said that can add, a couple percent, but it is making it harder for kids to get skinny, but it's not impossible at the same time, especially if we start with those things early on in life.
Yeah, and I think, people could cite all kinds of examples of kids and people that are, maybe they have obstacles. But by and large, the kids are victims of convenience, where it's very convenient to put a kid in front of a TV with video games and whether it's a PlayStation or just watching Netflix. It's easy to put them there and let that babysit them. It's easy to just heat up the chicken nuggets and the macaroni and just say, hey, this is dinner, and just, drinking Yoo-hoo.
Especially when they fight you.
What? Oh, yeah.
Like that little butt-faced Aussie man will say, like, I don't want to eat this. I don't want to eat the broccoli. And I said, GD, you're going to eat the broccoli, Aussie.
Don't say that.
Or not. We don't say, yeah.
I
might have said it a couple times, and my wife's like, dude, knock it off over there. I'm like, I slipped. My bad. I didn't mean to say that.
Come on.
He's pissing me off right now.
Did you tell your wife that Ozzy started it? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, so, he obviously wants the snacks. He wants the mac and cheese, and sometimes you got to give him the broccoli. It's really that simple.
Yeah.
Hey, in our chat right now, Brendan Scannell, he wrote a story for you guys on this topic.
It's an incredible story. A kid was up to like 283 pounds and then got into wrestling.
I think it's him, right?
And lost a whole bunch of weight.
Yeah.
Yeah, wrestling's great for that. And I think part of the obstacle is people view the idea of getting healthy, getting in shape as super, super intimidating, right?
Yeah.
It's because, and people fall into this trap all the time. Like, they get inspired, they get fired up. I'm getting up at 5. I'm doing this and that. I'm working out. I'm only eating this and that. And then, like, it's untenable. And then, like, in a week, 2 weeks, even if you do it a month, it's like you're gonna fall off the wagon. Like, a lot of people can't maintain that. And what if you the little things can go so far? Cut out the pudding, cut out the Yoo-hoo, do 10 minutes a day, and then go to 20 minutes a day, just little by little. It's so small, the changes that you have to make over time. Imagine if you make a little change for the rest of your life. That's gonna be so much better than getting up at 5 and doing crazy stuff that sucks for a month. That's not going to help you at all. So I think a lot of that they think what they think health looks like is so much harder than it actually is. So it's easy to get down. People are easily discouraged when things are really hard, and then they just throw their hands up when it really doesn't have to be like that.
Yeah, I agree. So that's something I think we should all think about. And obviously the culture in America right now is not encouraging. It's not always encouraging health and wellness, and that's not ideal. And I mean, it just seemed obvious for me to tweet that, and it kind of caught on, and a lot of people were debating it, and I think it's important. And I think about that with my own kids. Like, they do want that. We have a snack cabinet. They always want to go over and they say, "I want snacks." Like, nah, you're gonna eat lunch. You're not gonna have a snack right now. Maybe if you eat your lunch, then you get a snack. But then we also try to have an active lifestyle, right? They're all playing sports. We're all outside running around on the monkey bars, whatever else we're doing. It's important to, like I said, not give them a really disadvantaged start, when they get into their more formative years.
Yeah, I have no idea what's happened to Caleb, but this kid used to eat a cosmic brownie every single day. He loved the Little Debbie cosmic brownies. He would eat big sweet tooth. Now all of a sudden, I don't know what happened. A switch is flipped in this child, and all he thinks about.
I thought he wanted to gain weight.
He does, but he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to just like put on an empty. Like, he wants to eat the right things. Like, he's obsessed with milk and eggs and stuff like that, and so he's not eating sweets. He's like, I'm worried he's going to get too much the other way and get obsessed with it. So I'm trying to make sure
you get him on keto.
No, I don't want him on keto. Oh my gosh, I just
keto and steroids. That's the key.
What?
Oh my gosh.
He's 10, so probably not going to get on the roids.
Your loss.
We're probably
my loss. See, he is a Russian. He wants to roid up my kid.
Yep.
JD, your answer for everything is steroids. It's got to stop.
You want to win. He's not getting tested for a long time. That's all I'm saying.
We got to do it while he's out of the testing pool.
JD's right.
Oh my gosh. You guys are freaks. Okay. 9:30. Let's get to some questions because there's some good ones here. From Adam Rush. What is the biggest obstacle you face when coaching high school wrestlers, and how do you handle it?
That's interesting. What is the biggest obstacle I face? So, I mean, guys, so this is where I would love to have a video question, because it's like, obstacle to what? Obstacle to getting them to be, college ready. Obstacle to getting them to enjoy it. Obstacle to what?
Let me maybe ask. What is the biggest obstacle to development? Just getting better.
I think like getting better. So, because I think of getting better, like getting kids in there and getting them to be solid high school wrestlers with a good skill set and enjoy the sport. It's like, is getting them to enjoy the sport, getting them to like coming in. So they're really consistent 3 or 4 days a week, the whole summer. And if they do that, they're going to be a pretty damn good high school wrestler. Now, getting them to, be really successful on the next level, like high level high school success, nationally ranked, that type of stuff. I think a big part of that is getting them to acknowledge weaknesses and, work on those things to make them better. And, that's, in that case, you have to take them to tournaments, and you have to, when they fail, you got to be ready to pick them up and say, hey, here's something we talked about. Here's a really clear example of why it affected you and why you lost in this match. Let's get better at this. So I think that's kind of like 2 levels, right? Getting kids just to be, say, a 75% really solid high school wrestler, and then getting kids to that next level of like high school nationally ranked.
Yeah. So this is all right. Here's a real life thing for a 10-year-old. Okay, this happened yesterday. So Kale, I thought he had a fine practice. He was going hard, but he didn't think he did good. He was upset. Comes out, gets in the car, emotional. He said he's mad at himself that he didn't wrestle good. But part of me, I'm like sort of loving it. I'm like, oh yeah, this guy, he's really like, something's flipped in this kid's head and he really wants it. But I also know if you're thinking about winning and losing, practice goes, I know that is like, I've seen and coached a lot of kids where they get so caught up in practice performance and results that they lose the big picture. So that's all I really talked to him about after that, is like, it just doesn't matter. And it's just like, give hard effort and learn is really the main things. But like, how do you kind of balance that? Because I don't want to be like, who cares?
It is a balance, for
you
sure.
know?
You should read The Art of Learning by Josh Waitzkin. It's a really good book. I recommend it to a lot of my parents. He was a very, very high level chess player at a young age, and there was, it was very tense. And obviously, in chess, they can compete at almost an adult level at a younger age. Mm-hmm. And he talked about how his dad, really specifically one incident where he lost. I don't know if it was like the Nationals or the World or something like that. And his dad didn't say anything. He just said, "Hey." Right after we went on vacation, he just made me forget about it because I was a kid. And I should have been a kid at that point. Mm-hmm. I shouldn't have been stressing about adult level decisions and things. And he said, I'm very thankful for what my parents did for me. And so I think, yes, obviously certain kids are super type A, and that's great for success. But yes, they can totally overwhelm themselves from multiple standpoints, right? From just a pressure standpoint, they can overwhelm themselves. They can worry too much about winning and losing, which negates skill development, especially when you're a 10-year-old. You don't want to worry about strictly winning and losing, because you're going to negate your skill development. And this is kind of what you said earlier about said high volume attacker, and you said Caleb shoots too much and gets scored on. Yeah, they're going to do that at that age. And so it's like, if we solely worry about, if we were just to say, how can I make a 10-year-old win and lose as much as possible? It's like, teach them a great snap down, teach them a great down block go behind, and teach them a great like cross wrist tilt or something. If you get great at those 3 skills at that age, you're going to win like 99% of your matches.
Yeah.
But then the problem is, if those are the only 3 skills that we ever learn, at some point we're going to be behind the 8 ball because we're only good at those 3 skills. But for a 10 and 11-year-old, man, they're going to be beasts at 10 and 11 years old because they're awesome at those 3 things. So, how do we not negate our long-term skill development for short-term gain is a really huge one. So yeah, I think with kids with that mindset, you have to balance it as they get older, and really allow them to, or not allow them to think too much about winning and losing, and take the pressure off, and just by guiding them the right way.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So Brian Murphy, what?
Keith Goddard said roids are so 1997. All the cool kids are on SARMs. And
No, what's
I know
SARMs?
what SARMs
I don't know
stands
that.
for. You don't? So, okay, I'll tell you why I know what SARMs are. My buddy opened a CrossFit gym, and I would do the CrossFit workout sometimes. And especially, we'll say, I think this was probably like 6 to 8 years ago, I was a world-class athlete. I was in really good shape. And I also knew, listen, I'm not the greatest at lifting weights and running and stuff, but I was on a college team with some guys who were really, really good at it, better than me for sure. And I would see some of the scores and times that these CrossFit guys put up, and I would say, dude, these dudes, they're on. So I don't know what they're on. I don't know what they're taking. They're on something, because I know really high-level athletes that weren't getting anywhere in the ballpark of what this dude is scoring. So I said, what these dudes are on? So I don't know what they're on. They're on something. And so he ended up going to a CrossFit Worlds a couple years ago, and he came back and said, yeah, they're all on SARMs.
Okay. Is it like a steroid or what?
It stands for selective androgen muscle receptor. I don't really know exactly what that does, but apparently that's really good. It's not legal, but I don't think in CrossFit their testing is that good. What do you mean it's sort of legal?
Some you can buy online.
Because my online doesn't mean they're legal.
Well, no, but I'm at GNC and stuff too, I think. Because remember we were gonna buy me some. We were?
Who approved that?
What?
Who approved?
You don't remember this?
That's on the company budget, Christian.
No, we're on a tight ship here. We can't blow all our money on steroids. We only have so much budgeted.
Well, because Ostarine is one, and that's what Dayton tested positive for.
Oh, Ostarine is a SARM.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, really? Okay, I didn't know that. Interesting.
Well, I guess that's what that's what's hot in the so SARMs are hot in the streets.
So I don't know. There's like a joke going around at my academy, and I'm really hoping none of them are serious, but they'll always say, "Oh, he's on SARMs. He's on SARMs," and I really hope they're joking. I'm not going to get too deep into their personal lives, but it's like they all mess with each other.
Hey, someone said, Fred Lima said, Hey guy to CP's right. Please quit swigging gin and smoking cigars. You sound like Alex Jones. I mean, you're the guy to my right.
I did not sound like Alex Jones.
But so what? You know what he didn't deny?
Get back here, you coward.
You know what? He didn't deny smoking cigars and swigging gin. He didn't deny that. This is what I'm talking about. I'm trying to get him on the straight and narrow. I'm worried he's going down a destructive path.
I'm fine. I'm doing fine.
I'm worried.
Wow.
I'm worried.
I'll be even better once you get me on some steroids.
Jay, you're too powerful as is. Okay. Next question.
Okay, so is SARM safe on Google? Bodybuilding products that contain selective androgen receptor modulators, or SARMs, have not been approved by the FDA and are associated with serious safety concerns, including potential to increase the risk of heart attack or stroke and life-threatening reactions like liver damage. So, kids, behave yourselves.
Don't do the SARMs. Keep your livers, guys.
Look, there's a bunch of different kinds of SARMs. It's like calling every performance-enhancing drug a steroid.
Oh my gosh. What am I? He's out of control. All right. Next up. From Nick Kroninger. Oh, wait, no. I was going to ask Brian Murphy's. About 2 years ago, I mentioned Russians respected JB and Snyder but were dismissive of DT and his style. Not that I care about Russia, but has that perception changed? I think you have it flipped because, not completely flipped, but I remember reading something. It might have been Bekbulatov talking about Snyder. he's like, this guy, he just lifts. He's only strong, but he's not. They were kind of like, he's just a big, strong guy. David Taylor is someone we respect because they said he's plastic. He's like plastic. He's like, and when you look at David, he has more of a, he's not really, he doesn't have a Russian style, but he's more, quote, technical, and he's got a little slick, fluid. So you could see why that. So it was actually the opposite, Brian, as I remember. If I'm remembering the thing I talked about, they did. And has that perception changed? I guess I'll answer for Snyder. I think they respect him a lot, and obviously think I think Sajjalai is very respectful of Kyle. So
yeah.
But yeah, I think the respect for David has been there even before he was making teams. They were like, this guy is really good.
Yeah, I remember the Beck Bulatov quote. So yeah, I think Brian's confused. I think it was JB and DT and dismissive of Snyder. Is
Snyder man, strong boy.
Snyder man, yes, Snyder man, strong boy, and Ozzy man, strong boy. That's a great tag team duo. Okay. From Nick Croninger, DT's final takedown against Yazdani had a bunch of setups that ultimately led to the takedown. Are there specific wrestlers that you associate with specific setups? In other words, if you wanted to teach kids specific setups, who would you tell them to watch?
Yeah, for sure.
Who has a setup that you think's most like?
Well, iconic? David uses more of a fluid style where he's inside the hand fight and moving a lot. Elbow pass, snap down. He does a lot of stuff, right? Whereas, JB, like in his prime, was post, snap, boom, that kind of stuff, and then fire from the outside. Now it's a little different. I just talk about three spaces is how I like to think about it. And if I have a kid who I want to wrestle a specific way, I'll point them in the direction of someone who's really good at it. So like Yazdani with underhooks, for example, I'll point them in that direction. But so I say the open is like from the wrists and out, so maybe hand play or just totally in the open. Then the inside is like your wrists up to your neck, so the wrist tie, biceps, collar, and then in tight would be, your 2-on-1s, underhooks, over-under, overhooks, that type of stuff where we're super in tight. So those are kind of the three spaces I think about. And if we're talking about the middle space, which I think is the most effective, David is the best in there. He's so fluid with his motion and setups, and he has a lot of options, and he can disguise things a lot of different ways.
Yeah. Well, how would you describe like Kyle Snyder's setups?
Yeah, he would be on the inside, not like tight, but he would be on the right wrist and biceps. He's just not quite as dynamic as David. So I would say like he's really similar. But if you watch 10 minutes of David, you're going to see a whole lot more of them than Kyle. Right, you're going to see more effective setups and shots, and you're not going to see the volume from Kyle. Although it's really similar.
Yeah.
The first wrestler that came to my mind when I saw this question of like setup specific, like this is their bread and butter setup, was Brent Metcalf post high crotch.
Yeah,
high crotch. Yeah,
classic
for sure.
Of like a guy
Marinelli
who
does the same thing.
Like textbook with it.
Yep.
Yeah.
NATO
uses it a lot. Yep.
Super good with it. Gilman, good club and sweep. Yeah, there's a couple guys with that. I like this question. Anthony Terlizzi. Is Aaron Pico the biggest what if in USA Wrestling history?
Is he really a what if, though? I mean, this man made the Olympic trials finals.
Absolutely. He was 18.
He was 20 when he made the trials finals.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. I think so. I think he's a big what if. But I think the biggest what if, no, I don't. I'll say no. There's a couple of huge what ifs.
Well, hold on, Christian. Let me ask you this question before you go to. Is he really a what if? No, he's not. We know he's really freaking good. He made the Olympic trials finals. So when I think of a what if, I think of a guy who had a lot of success coming up, and then maybe there was an injury or something else that precluded them from moving forward. I know without a shadow of a doubt that Aaron Pico was really, really freaking good. He made the Olympic trials finals. Like, I don't need to know anymore. I know how good he was. He was elite at the highest levels in American wrestling.
Yes, I think what he's getting at, and the way I kind of read it is like, okay, imagine this guy full-on wrestler for his career through 28 to 30. what was going to be on the other side of that? What kind of world? And we're talking the standard in America is not just make the finals. It's like, what can you come back with at the World and Olympic stage?
Okay, so we're talking on that level.
I mean, that's the level I'm talking. But there's a guy like, okay, you take like a Jake Deichler. What was that guy going to be?
There you go.
Head injury, basically he had concussions, ended basically his career. He tried to come back. He actually gave Kyle Dake a sort of interesting match one year in a duel back when, if you remember that one. That was at Cornell, Minnesota duel.
Well,
Anyways,
let me ask you this then, Christian. Let me ask you this. So now it's only a 1 year difference, 20 and 21. Is Gable Stevenson a what if? Or do we know he's the best in the world? But how many times would he have been the best in the world?
That's what I was going to say. When Gable's name came to my mind immediately when I was like, no, Gable. Gable in 10 years will be. Because I just think you see what he did at his age and what he's going to be, what he could have done. If you want to talk about a guy who could go 6 for 6, it's going to be him. Because he's going to he has like
he's still getting better.
He's getting better. The trajectory of his career is insane. And you look at the talent pool of heavyweight and the way they're going to be going. Gino's a legend and Taha's a legend, but their best days are behind them, and Gable's getting better. So that intersection plus the lack of the biggest obstacle to Gable is probably literally going to be domestic.
Zare.
Or Zare. That's a good point.
Yeah. But that gives him a worthy adversary and someone to bolster him up versus him just dominating the field and we say, oh, it's a light field.
Right. So I think he is a guy that could have gone on a run of 3, 4, 5, 6 in a row kind of thing. Yeah. And you look at his run his run in 21 versus Jordan's in 11 has a lot more similarities the more I think about it. Because you have the jaw-dropping,
You
have the jaw-dropping physicality and technical stuff that's just like, okay, no one in the world can do this thing. Jordan has some things like no one else can do that. Gable has something no one else can do that. But then the other thing that made Jordan and makes Gable next level and made their run so epic is like the heart and grit aspect. Gable only had to show that once, but he really did. And Jordan had to do that a couple times. He had the crazy match with Sargoose, and then he had the Azeri was so dirty, and they had some weird calls in there.
Was there a crazy Belarusian match too? Maybe?
That was in 13 against Shabanov. So they both had to just have like insane grit, and I mean, we all know what Jordan went on to be, and it still is. So I think Gable will go down. There's one more that comes to mind when I'm thinking about World Olympic accolades. Kale. I mean, this is a guy who
that's why I say, like, he was the best in the world, Christian. Do we really wonder? Like, really?
Okay, so I guess what you're saying is we know what Kale would have been had he continued to compete, right?
Well, we already know. He literally reached the pinnacle of the sport. I mean, Pico's the pinnacle of American wrestling at age 20. Like, I know he's really good. Kale and Gable, maybe Kale was 20, we'll say 24-ish, somewhere 25 maybe. Mm-hmm. Gable's... They reached the pinnacle of wrestling. Is the highest they can get. We know what they were. What they were is the best in the world in the sport of wrestling. We already know that. Now, how many times would they have done that in a row? We don't know the answer to that. But we know they were the best in the world.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's just the thing. It's like he could ascend to that all-time, not just like an all-time American great, which he already is, but like, could he have reached another level in the international sphere where he only won one Olympic title, right? That's what we're talking about. And this is a guy who retired in 2002 and moonwalked his way to the team in 2011, no problem.
2004 and 11,
and then took 5th.
2004, excuse me.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I understand what you're saying about Kale and Pico. When I heard the question, I don't know if you guys ever watched that ESPN 30 for 30. It was called The Best Who Never Was. And I think it was the guy, I believe, if I remember this correctly, it's been a few years now, but he had a really great first year of college. And then he got hurt. I think there was a couple of injuries and he just never really played at a high level anymore. That's kind of like what I was thinking about the question of a guy who, maybe was great coming up. Maybe, a great one would be like, Hunter Stieber, right, who had a great first year of college. Is like, well, how good could he have been if the injuries wouldn't have happened? That's kind of where I was going with this question, but I definitely see what you guys are saying.
Okay, one more in that vein is definitely Darian Caldwell. This guy
good, great one. Yeah,
beats Brent, makes the national team, beats Schwab.
Wasn't he roller skating?
And then the rollerblading injury. He's never the same.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great
What
one.
happens when Blade is life?
Yeah, I wish it wasn't life. So what could he have been on the freestyle scene? I think he would have been a lifer at 66 and 65. Yep. And, you know, you think of his trajectory and how good he was in 2009.
Yeah.
And, you know, what could have been. He's a real big what could have been.
Yeah. The other one for me, and this is kind of my era, and you know, people myself included, didn't compete as long, but my good friend Cole Conrad, I would have loved to see what he could have done. You know, he took second. I think he was runner up to Tommy Rollins at the U.S. Open in 2007, and then decided to compete Greco in 2008, and then just hung it up. And then he fought for a tiny bit of time. He actually won the Bellator tournament. And then just moved on to real life because I think there's just more money, and I think he's really successful in real life. And I would have loved to see, you know, had wrestling been as lucrative back then as it is now, I'm sure he would have stuck around. And, you know, he was a guy who had beaten Steve Mocco multiple times, and it would have been interesting to see how that would have played out for his career.
Cole's an MMA what if. He was undefeated and retired,
Absolutely.
I believe.
He retired at 9-0 or 10-0 maybe.
I mean, I don't think there's a lot of with his size and the way he could move and his power. He could have been so freaking good. He could have been.
Let's see.
He was good. So yeah,
he's 9-0. He won. He actually he won the Bellator heavyweight tournament. He didn't win. He won the inaugural, so he won the belt. When he won the tournament, he also won the belt because that was the first time they competed in that weight class. And he had almost all finishes, I think.
Yeah, he was very dominant. Ben, I didn't realize it's 9:53. Deep in the heart of Texas. Oh, my goodness. I can't believe you haven't. Honestly, I just wait for you to say, hey, I really got to pee. I got to go. And that's kind of my signal. Okay. Knew it.
But my summer's over, so I'm not as busy. My summer was insane. I'm less busy, so an extra 8 minutes. Hey, let's have some fun.
Let's have some fun. We had fun. Make sure you check out. Send those questions to frlsubmissions@flowsports.tv or dial 515-509-5071. Leave a voicemail. Ask a question.
Send a video.
Make fun of Ben. Probably me, though.
Do the milk crate challenge.
Do the milk crate challenge.
Send it in.
Don't do the milk crate challenge.
Only if you know you can do it. I would never encourage somebody to hurt themselves.
No one can do it. Don't do it. JD, you are forbidden from doing it. You'll probably try to drive your hog over some milk crates. I can't advise any of it. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll be back tomorrow. Braxton Amos is going to join us. He's a world champion, so that'll be great. Have a great day. Happy Tuesday. Goodbye.